The lights in the council chamber were too bright. Commander Tae-Jin Kim stood in the center of the massive room and felt like an insect under a microscope. All around him, alien beings sat in their seats and stared down at him. Some looked curious. Most looked disappointed. A few looked angry that he was even here. Tae-Jin kept his face calm. He had been a soldier for 20 years before becoming a diplomat. He knew how to hide his feelings. He wore his dark blue uniform with Earth's symbol on the chest. His black hair was cut short and neat. His hands stayed relaxed at his sides even though he wanted to clench them into fists. This was the Stellar Assembly, the place where the most powerful species in the galaxy made their decisions. Earth had been waiting 5 years for this moment. 5 years of being tested, watched, and judged. Today, the council would vote on whether humans could join them as full members. A tall creature made of living crystal stood up. Its body reflected the light in rainbow colors. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind chimes. "I am Ambassador Zalteth of the Velkari Empire," it said. "I will now present our findings on the human species." Tae-Jin watched as images appeared in the air above him. Charts and numbers floated like ghosts. The ambassador pointed to them with a crystalline finger. "Humans rank in the bottom 10% for physical strength among all coalition species," Zalteth said. "They cannot lift even half of what a Velkari child can move. Their bones break easily. Their skin tears from simple impacts." More charts appeared. Tae-Jin saw comparisons of human speed versus other species. It did not look good. "Humans are slow," the ambassador continued. "They cannot run faster than 30 kilometers per hour. Many predators on their own world can catch them easily. They have no natural armor, no claws, no venom, no ability to regenerate lost limbs." A creature that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles in what might have been laughter. It had 4 arms and a shell that looked harder than steel. The Hantori, Tae-Jin remembered. "They thought humans were soft and weak. Their technology is basic," another delegate said. "This one was covered in blue fur and had 6 eyes. They only discovered faster than light travel 60 years ago. Most of their weapons are chemical-based projectiles. Primitive." Tae-Jin listened to all of it. He had heard these arguments before. Every species in the coalition was stronger, faster, or tougher than humans. That was a fact. He could not argue with facts. An aquatic being that looked like a dolphin with hands spoke next. Its voice came through a water-filled tank. "We of the Quilnar do not doubt that humans are intelligent. They have art, music, mathematics. But intelligence alone does not make one ready for coalition membership. The galaxy is dangerous. Species must be able to protect themselves and contribute to mutual defense." "Exactly," Zalteth said. Its crystal body seemed to glow brighter. "Humans are a peaceful species from a peaceful world. They have never faced true danger. They have never been tested by real predators or real war. How can such a species help defend the coalition?" Tae-Jin almost smiled at that. A peaceful world. If only they knew. 3 hours passed. 3 hours of different species standing up to explain why humans were not good enough. Too weak, too slow, too fragile, too primitive. The words piled up like stones. Finally, the head of the council spoke. She was a being of pure energy inside a containment field. Her voice echoed in everyone's minds rather than their ears. "Commander Kim," she said, "you have heard the concerns. Do you wish to respond?" Tae-Jin nodded. He took 1 step forward. His boots made a soft sound on the floor. "Yes," he said. His voice was quiet but clear. "I have one request." The council chamber grew silent. Everyone waited. "Let us prove our worth," Tae-Jin said. "Give us a test. A mission. Something practical. Let our actions speak instead of our statistics." Ambassador Zalteth made a sound like breaking glass. It was laughter. "A test? You want us to risk coalition resources on a test?" "We will use our own resources," Tae-Jin replied. "Our own ships. Our own people. You just give us the mission." The delegates whispered among themselves in dozens of different languages. Tae-Jin could not understand most of them, but he knew what they were saying. They thought he was desperate. They thought he was foolish. Good, let them think that. The head of the council's voice filled the chamber again. "Very well. If the council agrees, we will assign a mission. If you succeed, we will reconsider your application. If you fail, Earth's petition will be denied permanently." Tae-Jin bowed his head slightly. "Understood," more whispering. Then voting. Lights appeared above each delegate as they made their choice. Green for yes. Red for no. Taejin watched the lights appear one by one. Most were green. They wanted to see him fail. They wanted to prove their point. When the voting ended, Zalteth stood again. The Crystal Ambassador looked directly at Taejin. If it had a face, it might have been smiling. "We have a mission for you," it said. 3 weeks ago, a Velkari research team went missing on Kresh 9. It is a world in the Outer Veil. We have sent 3 rescue missions. None returned. All personnel are presumed dead. Taejin felt his heartbeat faster, but his face did not change. "What killed them?" "The planet's apex predator," Zalteth answered. "We call them Ravagers. They are perfect killing machines. Fast, strong, intelligent, and impossible to stop. Every species that has tried to land on Kresh 9 has died there. The planet is classified as a death world. No coalition military unit will go there anymore." The chamber was so quiet that Taejin could hear his own breathing. "Your mission," Zalteth continued, "is to go to Kresh 9. Find our research team or recover their remains. Return safely. Do this and we will grant Earth full membership in the coalition." "And if we refuse?" Taejin asked. "Then we vote now and Earth's petition is denied." Taejin did not hesitate. He looked up at all the aliens staring down at him. He thought about Earth, about his crew, about all the humans waiting to hear the Council's decision. "We accept," he said. The Crystal Ambassador tilted its head. "You do not wish to consult with your government? You do not wish to review the mission data?" "No," Taejin said. "We accept. When do we leave?" For the first time, some of the delegates looked uncertain. They had expected him to refuse. They had expected him to be afraid. The dolphin-like Quilnar delegate leaned forward in its tank. "Commander," it said gently, "perhaps you do not understand. Kresh 9 has killed hundreds of trained soldiers. The Ravagers are unlike anything on your world. This is not a mission. It is suicide." Taejin met its large, dark eyes. "Then we will be the first to survive it." He turned and walked toward the chamber doors. His footsteps echoed in the silence. Behind him, the delegates began talking all at once. Some sounded excited. Some sounded worried. Most sounded certain that they would never see the human commander alive again. As the doors closed behind him, Taejin allowed himself a small smile. They thought Kresh 9 was a death world. They thought the Ravagers were perfect killers. They had never seen what humans could do when the galaxy told them something was impossible. He had 3 weeks to gather his team and prepare. 3 weeks before they would travel to a planet that had killed everyone who went there. 3 weeks before he would show the coalition what humans really were. They called humans weak. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The ship called Indomitable moved through space like a dark arrow. It was not the biggest ship or the fastest ship, but it was strong and it was human. Inside, 12 people prepared for a mission that everyone else thought was impossible. Taejin stood in the cargo bay and watched his team check their equipment. He had chosen each person carefully. These were not just soldiers. They were survivors. People who had faced death before and walked away from it. Lieutenant Bo-Ra Choi knelt beside a crate of scientific equipment. She had short black hair and quick hands. Before joining the military, she had studied alien life forms at 3 different universities. She knew more about dangerous creatures than anyone Taejin had ever met. When he asked her to volunteer for Kresh 9, she said yes before he finished the question. "How are we looking?" Taejin asked her. Bo-Ra glanced up. "Good, I have scanners, sample kits, and enough tranquilizer to knock out an elephant. Maybe it will work on Ravagers. Maybe not." "We will find out," Taejin said. Across the bay, Hyunwoo Lee worked on a pile of strange devices. He was the team's engineer and demolitions expert. He could build a bomb from spare parts or fix a broken ship with wire and hope. His hands were covered in old burn scars from accidents that would have killed someone less lucky. "What are those?" Taejin asked, pointing at the devices. Hyunwoo grinned. "Surprises. If these Ravagers are as smart as the reports say, they will not expect primitive technology. I have chemical explosives, mechanical traps, and some things I invented last week." Sunmi Park, the team medic, walked past carrying medical supplies. She was small and quiet, but Taejin had seen her work on wounded soldiers while bombs exploded around her. She never panicked. She never gave up. If someone could be saved, Sunmi would save them. The rest of the team moved through the bay with practiced efficiency. Jisung Nam, their best marksman. Dongmin Seo, who specialized in close combat. Yu Jin Kang, a tracker who could follow a trail through a rainstorm. Each person had skills that might keep them alive on Kresh 9. Might. The door to the cargo bay opened. 2 aliens entered and the humans stopped to look at them. The first alien was Velkari, made of crystal like Ambassador Zalteth. But this one was different. Darker. Sharper. Its name was Korseth and it was a military officer. It moved with the confidence of someone who had fought many battles and won them all. The second alien came from a tank on a floating platform. It looked like a dolphin but with hands and larger eyes. The Quilnar scientist Firuna watched the humans with curiosity and sadness. She believed they were all going to die. "We are your observers," Korseth said. Its voice sounded cold and hard. "We will document your mission for the Council. We will not interfere." "Understood," Taejin said. "Welcome aboard." Korseth looked around the cargo bay. It saw the humans checking projectile weapons, mechanical traps, and chemical explosives. Its crystal body seemed to dim with disappointment. "This is your equipment?" it asked. "Where are your plasma rifles? Your energy shields? Your modern weapons?" Hyunwoo looked up from his work. "Modern weapons did not save the other missions. Because they were not strong enough," Korseth said. "You think these primitive tools will succeed where advanced technology failed?" "Maybe," Hyunwoo replied cheerfully. "Sometimes old tricks work best." The Velkari officer made a sound like ice cracking. It was not a happy sound. Firuna in her tank said nothing, but her large eyes looked sad. 3 hours later, the Indomitable reached Kresh 9. The planet looked beautiful from orbit. Green jungles covered most of the land. Blue oceans sparkled in the sunlight. White clouds drifted across the sky. It looked peaceful. It looked safe. "Looks can lie," Bora muttered as she studied the scanner readings. Taejin agreed. He had seen the mission reports. He knew what happened down there. The planet might look peaceful, but it was filled with death. "Final briefing," he announced. The team gathered around a holographic display. The image showed a jungle clearing with destroyed buildings and scattered equipment. "This is the Velkari Research Station," Bora explained. She pointed to different areas of the image. 7 researchers were stationed here. 3 weeks ago, they stopped responding to communications. The first rescue team found the station destroyed and the researchers missing. That team was killed within 6 hours. The second and third teams never made it to the station at all. "Tell us about the Ravagers," Jisung said. He was already thinking about shot placement and weak points. Bora changed the image. Now it showed a creature that made even the experienced soldiers pause. It stood on 6 legs. Its body was covered in armored plates. Its head had too many eyes and a mouth full of teeth like knives. Long claws extended from each limb. "Ravagers are the apex predator on Kresh 9, Bora continued. "They are 4 meters tall. They have 6 limbs that can tear through steel. Their armor can stop plasma fire. They hunt in packs of 6 to 15 individuals. They are smart enough to use tactics and set ambushes, and they have killed every single person who has landed on this planet." The cargo bay was quiet. Firuna made a soft, sad sound in her tank. "How do we kill them?" Dongmin asked. "Good question," Bora said. "Previous missions tried everything. Plasma rifles barely scratched them. Explosives knocked them down but did not kill them. Energy weapons overheated before doing enough damage. Nothing worked. So we try something different," Taejin said. He looked at each member of his team. "We are not trying to fight an army. We are trying to rescue 3 people and survive. We get in, find the researchers, and get out. If we can avoid the Ravagers, we avoid them. If we cannot, we adapt." "Adapt to what?" Korseth asked. The Crystal Warrior sounded angry. "These creatures are perfect killers. There is no adapting. There is only dying." Taejin looked at the alien. "Every creature can be understood. Every creature has weaknesses. We just have to find them." "Arrogance," Korseth said. "Your species is about to learn a painful lesson." An hour later, the dropship descended through the atmosphere. Taejin sat strapped in his seat and watched the jungle get closer. Around him, his team was quiet. They were not afraid. They were focused. There was a difference. The dropship landed near the destroyed research station. The doors opened and humid jungle air rushed in. It smelled like rotten flowers and something else. "Something animal. Spread out," Taejin ordered. "Standard perimeter. Bora, scan for life signs. Hyunwoo, start setting up defenses." The team moved quickly. They had practiced this 1,000 times. Within minutes, they had a secure perimeter around the dropship. Sensors went up. Traps were set. Weapons were loaded and ready. Bora studied her scanner and frowned. I am picking up the Velkari emergency shelter. It is 3 kilometers north. The power is still on. Someone might be alive in there. Any Ravagers? Taejin asked, not on sensors. But these things can hide their electromagnetic signature. They could be right next to us and we would not know. Comforting, Ji-sung muttered. They moved through the jungle in formation. Every soldier watched a different direction. Every sound made them pause and listen. The jungle was full of noise. Birds that were not really birds. Insects that were too large. Wind through leaves that looked wrong. Yujin, the tracker, knelt beside a fallen tree. He touched the ground and then showed his fingers to Taejin. Dark liquid stained them. Blood, Yujin said quietly. Fresh, maybe 2 hours old. Velkari? Bora asked. Yujin shook his head. Wrong color. This is from something else. They found the research station at sunset. It looked even worse in person than in the images. Buildings were torn apart. Equipment was scattered and broken. Claw marks covered every surface, and there was blood everywhere. Sunmi examined one of the destroyed buildings. They did not die quickly. No, Taejin agreed. They did not. As darkness fell, the team fortified a position near the emergency shelter. Hyunwoo placed his traps and explosives in a careful pattern. Ji-sung found high ground with clear sight lines. Sunmi prepared medical supplies. Everyone knew what was coming. Korseth watched all of this with what might have been contempt. You are wasting time. The Ravagers will kill you regardless of your preparations. Maybe, Taejin said, but we will make them work for it. Night came to Kresh 9, the jungle sounds changed. Became quieter, more careful. Something was moving out there in the darkness. Something large. Something hungry. Taejin checked his weapon one last time. Around him, his team did the same. They did not speak. They did not need to. They all knew this was the moment. This was the test. In the darkness, something roared. It was not a human sound. It was not any sound that should exist in nature. It was rage and hunger mixed together, and it was getting closer. Here they come, Bora whispered. Taejin smiled in the darkness. Finally, time to see what humans could do. The first Ravager came from the east. It moved through the jungle like a shadow, silent despite its massive size. Taejin saw it on his thermal scanner before his eyes could find it in the darkness, a blob of heat moving fast between the trees. Contact east side, he said quietly into his radio. Everyone hold position. The creature stepped into the clearing. In the moonlight, it looked even more terrifying than the images showed. 4 meters of armored muscle and killing instinct. Its 6 legs moved with strange grace. Its many eyes reflected the light like mirrors. When it opened its mouth, rows of teeth gleamed wet and sharp. It was not alone. 5 more Ravagers emerged from different directions. They had surrounded the human position perfectly. They moved together like a single organism, cutting off every escape route. This was not luck. This was planning. These creatures were smart. Korseth, the Velkari observer, made a sound like shattering glass. It was fear. They coordinate, they plan. You cannot fight this, Taejin did not answer. He was watching the Ravagers move, studying their patterns, learning. The lead Ravager roared. It was a signal. All 6 creatures charged at once, now. Hyunwoo shouted. Explosions ripped through the jungle. The engineer had buried charges in a careful pattern, and now they erupted in sequence. Fire and shrapnel filled the air. The Ravagers scattered, confused and angry. 2 of them stumbled into pit traps covered with leaves. The pits were not deep enough to trap them, but they slowed them down. Fire, Ji-sung commanded. The humans opened fire with their projectile weapons. Bullets tore through the night. Most rounds bounced off the Ravager's armor with sparks, but Ji-sung aimed for the joints where the plates met. He aimed for the eyes. He aimed for the soft parts that every creature had. One Ravager screamed. It was a horrible sound. Dark blood sprayed from its damaged eye. It thrashed and knocked down 3 trees in its pain. It worked, Bora shouted. She sounded surprised. The Ravagers regrouped faster than any animal should. They learned from the first attack. They avoided the obvious trap areas. They moved in shorter rushes, using cover. They were adapting to the humans' tactics in real time. One Ravager broke through the perimeter. It came straight at Dongmin, who stood his ground with a weapon the aliens had never seen. It looked like a sword, but the blade had spinning teeth. A chainsaw, humans called it. Primitive, loud. Brutal. The Ravager's claw swept at Dong Min. He ducked under it and drove his chainsaw into the creature's armpit, where the armor was thinnest. The blade bit deep. The Ravager howled and threw him back, but it was bleeding badly. It retreated into the jungle, limping on 5 legs. "They can be hurt," Dong Min called out. Blood covered his armor, but he was grinning. The battle lasted 30 minutes. It felt like hours. The Ravagers attacked again and again, testing the human defenses from different angles. The humans rotated positions, covered each other, and never panicked. When a trap was triggered, they fell back to the next position. When ammunition ran low, they switched weapons. They fought like a single unit, each person knowing exactly what the others would do. Sunmi worked in the center of the formation, treating wounds as they happened. Ji-sung took a claw strike across his shoulder that would have killed a smaller man. She sealed the wound with medical foam and he went back to shooting. Bora got knocked down by a Ravager's tail. Sunmi had her back on her feet in seconds. Finally, the Ravagers retreated. They dragged their dead and wounded with them, disappearing into the jungle. Silence fell over the clearing. The humans stood in their positions, weapons ready, waiting to see if the creatures would return. After 10 minutes, Taijin gave the all-clear. "Status report. 2 wounded, neither critical," Sunmi said. "We are low on ammunition and explosives." 2 Ravagers dead, 3 wounded, Yujin added. They took their dead with them. Smart. Korseth walked forward slowly. Its crystal body had small cracks from stress. "This is impossible. No species has survived a Ravager night attack." "No species?" "We did," Hyunwoo said simply. Firuna in her floating tank came closer. Her large eyes were wide with amazement. How? How did you do that?" Bora was studying a piece of Ravager armor that had broken off during the fight. "We used their intelligence against them. They expected advanced weapons. They expected tactics they had seen before. We gave them something different. But they will return," Korseth insisted. "They will learn. They will adapt." Taijin nodded. He was looking at the jungle where the Ravagers had disappeared. "Yes, they will." He had been watching the creatures during the fight, not just fighting them, but studying them, the way they moved together, the way they communicated with clicks and growls, the way they tested the defenses before committing to an attack. These were not mindless monsters. These were apex predators with complex social behavior. "We need to reach the emergency shelter," Taijin said. "The Velkari survivors are there. We extract them at first light." They spent the rest of the night on high alert, but the Ravagers did not return. When dawn came, the jungle looked peaceful again. Birds sang. Insects buzzed. It was hard to believe they had almost died here just hours ago. The emergency shelter was a reinforced bunker half buried in the ground. Its door was sealed tight. Bora scanned it and smiled. 3 life signs inside, weak but alive. It took 20 minutes to open the sealed door. Inside, they found 3 Velkari researchers in terrible condition. The crystalline beings were cracked and dim. One of them could barely move. They had been trapped in the shelter for 3 weeks with limited food and water, listening to the Ravagers scratch at the walls every night. When they saw the humans, one of the Velkari made a sound like breaking ice. "It was crying. You came," it whispered. "You actually came." Sunmi and Bora worked to stabilize the researchers. The Velkari were dehydrated and injured, but they would survive. That was the important thing. Korseth spoke quietly with the survivors in their own language. When it turned back to the humans, its entire demeanor had changed. "They say the Ravagers attacked without warning," Korseth translated. "They killed 4 researchers in the first hour. These 3 made it to the shelter and sealed themselves inside. They have been here ever since, waiting to die." "They are not going to die," Taijin said. "We are getting them out." "The Ravagers will not allow that," Korseth replied. "You survived 1 attack. They will not make the same mistakes twice." Taijin looked at the Velkari officer. "Neither will we." Over the next hours, Taijin did something that confused everyone. Instead of preparing to leave immediately, he had his team study the area. Yujin tracked Ravager movements through the jungle. Bora collected samples from the dead creatures. Hyunwoo examined their claw marks and tested their strength. "What are you doing?" Firuna asked. "Every moment we stay here is more dangerous." "Learning," Taijin said. He was looking at a map on his tablet. Yujin had marked where the Ravagers had come from, where they had retreated to, and where they seemed to patrol. "Learning what?" Korseth demanded. "How they think, how they hunt, How they live? Tai-Jin pointed to the map. Look at these patterns. They are not random. The Ravagers have territories. They have regular patrol routes. They have a home base somewhere in this jungle. Bora looked up from her work. Her eyes were wide. You want to find their nest? Yes. That is insane, Korseth said flatly. You want to go to the place where there are more Ravagers? Where they are strongest? Yes, Tai-Jin repeated. Because if we just run away now, they will hunt every group that comes after us. They will continue killing anyone who lands on this planet. We need to end this threat permanently. How? Firuna asked. Her voice was small and frightened. Tai-Jin smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator. We are going to do what humans do best. We are going to hunt the hunters. The team worked through the day. They rescued the Velkari researchers and got them back to the dropship. They set up a secure camp. And then Tai-Jin explained his plan. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It was exactly the kind of thing that got people killed. I love it, Hyunwoo said. The others agreed one by one. They understood what Tai-Jin was really proposing. This was not about the mission anymore. This was not about proving humanity's worth to the coalition. This was about something deeper, something primal. Humans had spent millions of years as prey animals on Earth. Weak, slow, easy to kill. But they had climbed to the top of the food chain anyway. They had learned to hunt creatures that were bigger, stronger, and faster than they were. They had learned to understand their enemies and use that understanding as a weapon. The Ravagers were apex predators, perfect killing machines, unstoppable. But they had never met humans before. That night, Tai-Jin sat by the campfire and cleaned his weapon. Around him, his team did the same. They were preparing for the most dangerous hunt of their lives. Tomorrow, they would find the Ravager's nest. Tomorrow, they would capture one of these supposedly uncatchable creatures. Tomorrow, they would show the galaxy what happened when you called humans weak. In the jungle, something roared. A challenge. A threat, Tai-Jin roared back. The trap was ready. 3 days of careful work had gone into it. Hyunwoo had used every trick he knew and invented several new ones. The trap looked simple, but simple things often worked best. Yujin had found the Ravager's main trail through the jungle. It was a path they used every day to reach a water source. Deep claw marks on trees showed this was their territory. They felt safe here. That would be their mistake. Remember, Tai-Jin said to his team, we want it alive. No killing shots. Aim for the legs first. This is madness, Korseth said. The Velkari officer had said this many times over the past 3 days. You cannot capture a Ravager. It is impossible. Lots of things are impossible until someone does them, Bora replied. She was checking her tranquilizer gun. The darts were filled with enough sedative to drop an earth elephant. She hoped it would work on a Ravager. They would find out soon. They waited in the trees. Hours passed. The jungle sounds continued around them. Birds called. Insects buzzed. And then suddenly everything went quiet. The Ravager came down the trail. It was smaller than the adults, maybe 2 meters tall instead of 4. A juvenile. That was what they had hoped for. Younger meant less experienced. Less dangerous, maybe. The creature moved with careful steps. Its many eyes scanned the jungle. Its claws flexed and relaxed. Even young, it was a perfect hunting machine. It stepped into the trap zone. Hyunwoo pressed a button. Cables shot up from the ground and wrapped around the Ravager's legs. The creature roared and thrashed. The cables were made from the strongest materials the humans had, but they began to fray immediately. Now, Tai-Jin shouted. The team fired tranquilizer darts from 6 different directions. Most bounced off the armor. 3 hit soft spots. The Ravager's roars became confused. It staggered. Its legs wobbled, but it did not fall. It kept fighting the cables, kept trying to escape. More darts, Bora called. They hit it with 10 more tranquilizers. Finally, the creature's legs gave out. It crashed to the ground, still conscious but unable to move properly. Its eyes tracked the humans as they approached. Even drugged and trapped, it looked dangerous. Quickly, Sunmi said, before the others come looking for it. They got the Ravager onto a reinforced sled and dragged it back to camp. It took all 12 humans to move the creature. Even unconscious, it was incredibly heavy. Its breathing sounded like wind through a cave. Deep and powerful. By the time they reached camp, the Ravager was starting to wake up. They had built a strong cage from metal salvaged from the destroyed research station. They got the creature inside and sealed it before it fully regained consciousness. The Ravager woke up angry. It slammed against the cage walls. Metal groaned but held. The creature roared and hissed and made sounds that hurt to hear. Its claws scraped against the bars, leaving deep marks. Now what? Dongmin asked. We have caught it. What do we do with it? Taijin did not answer immediately. He stood in front of the cage and watched the Ravager. The creature watched him back. Its many eyes were full of rage and something else. Intelligence. Real, thinking intelligence. We learn from it, Taijin said finally. Over the next 2 days, something strange happened. Taijin spent hours sitting near the cage. He did not try to hurt the creature. He did not threaten it. He just watched. And the Ravager watched him back. Bora studied the creature constantly. She took samples when it slept. She watched how it moved, how it reacted to different sounds and smells. What she learned changed everything. They are not monsters, she told the team on the second night. They are animals. Complex, intelligent animals. They have social structures. They communicate. They hunt together using strategy and planning. Like wolves, Jisung said. Exactly like wolves, Bora agreed. Or lions. Or any pack predator on Earth. And if they are like Earth predators, that means they understand hierarchy. They understand dominance. Firuna, the Quilnar scientist, swam closer to the front of her tank. What are you saying? I am saying that these creatures are not just killing machines. They have a society. They have rules. And one of those rules is that they respect strength. They respect dominance. Korseth made a dismissive sound. So what? They are still killers. So are lions, Taijin said quietly. So are wolves. So are bears. But humans learn to understand these creatures. We learn to coexist with them. Sometimes we even learn to work with them. He stood up and walked closer to the cage. The Ravager inside stopped moving. It watched him with all its eyes. Humans evolved on a world full of predators, Taijin continued. Creatures that were bigger than us, faster than us, stronger than us. But we survived. We learned to understand how predators think, how they behave, what they respect. You think you can make it respect you? Korseth asked. The crystal warrior sounded incredulous. I think I can try. The team had started calling the young Ravager Scout. It was easier than saying the prisoner all the time. Scout had stopped trying to break out of the cage. It still watched the humans constantly, but it no longer roared at them. Taijin began a process that would have seemed insane to anyone who did not understand animal behavior. He established boundaries. When Scout was calm, he brought it food. When Scout tried to attack through the bars, he walked away. When Scout made threatening sounds, Taijin made them back louder and deeper. It was a dance as old as time. Two predators establishing who was dominant, who was alpha. On the third day, Taijin opened the cage. Are you insane? Korseth shouted. Several team members raised their weapons. Probably, Taijin admitted. Everyone back. Give us space. He stepped into the cage. Scout was crouched in the corner. The creature was still dangerous. Still wild, but it had not attacked yet. It was watching, waiting, trying to understand. Taijin knelt down. He made himself smaller, less threatening. He met Scout's eyes and did not look away. In animal language, this was a challenge. I see you. I am not afraid of you, Scout hissed, its claws extended. But it did not attack. Taijin stayed still, patient. He had spent hours studying the Ravager's body language. The way they moved their head meant aggression. The way they clicked their mandibles meant warning. The way they tilted their bodies showed uncertainty. Scout was uncertain. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Taijin did not move, did not speak, did not show fear. This was not about words. This was about something deeper, something primal that every predator understood. Finally, Scout relaxed slightly. Its claws retracted a little. It was still wary, but not immediately aggressive. Taijin slowly stood up. He turned his back on the creature and walked out of the cage. It was the ultimate show of dominance. I am not afraid of you. You are not a threat to me. Scout did not attack. It watched him leave with what might have been confusion. I do not believe what I just saw, Firuna whispered. Bora was grinning. It worked. It actually worked. The Ravager recognizes him as a dominant presence. This proves nothing, Korseth insisted. The creature is young and alone. The adult pack will not be so easily intimidated. No, Taejin agreed. They will not. That is why tomorrow I am going to challenge their alpha. The cargo bay fell silent. Everyone stared at him. You want to fight their leader? Dongmin asked. Their biggest, strongest member? Yes, why? Because if I can establish dominance over the alpha, the pack will respect it. They will understand that humans are not prey. We are not food. We are rivals. Equals. Or they will kill you, Korseth said. Maybe, Taejin admitted, but that is a risk I am willing to take. Sunmi stepped forward. I cannot allow this. You will be killed, Sunmi, Taejin said gently. How many coalition soldiers have died on this planet? Hundreds, thousands? Someone needs to try something different. Someone needs to take the risk. He looked at his team. I am not ordering anyone to help me with this. This is my choice. But if I am right, if this works, we will change everything. Not just for this mission. For every species that encounters a predator they think is unstoppable. The team exchanged glances. Then one by one they nodded. We are with you, Bora said. Even though this is the craziest thing I have ever heard. That night, Taejin prepared. He studied every recording they had of the Ravager pack. He learned their sounds, their movements, their communication. Bora helped him prepare pheromone markers that might signal challenge to the alpha. Hyunwoo built devices that could amplify his voice to match the Ravager's roar. Piruna watched all of this with her large, sad eyes. You are very brave, she said. Or very foolish. I'm not sure which. Both, Taejin said. Definitely both. He sat by the fire and thought about Earth. About all the predators humans had faced over millions of years. About every time someone said humans were too weak, too slow, too fragile to survive. And about how humans proved them wrong every single time. Tomorrow, he would face the deadliest predator on Kresh 9. Tomorrow, he would show the galaxy that humans understood something most species had forgotten. That intelligence and courage could overcome raw strength. That understanding your enemy was more powerful than any weapon. Tomorrow he would roar back at the monster, and he would make it listen. The clearing was empty when Taejin walked into it. The morning sun filtered through the jungle canopy above. Birds sang. Insects buzzed. Everything seemed peaceful. It would not stay that way for long. Taejin stood in the center of the clearing and waited. He wore light armor but carried no weapons. This was not about killing. This was about something else entirely. Behind him, hidden in the trees, his team watched with weapons ready. Just in case. He carried Scout in his arms. The young Ravager was calm now, almost docile. 3 days of careful interaction had built something between them. Not friendship. Predators did not have friends. But respect, understanding. Scout knew that Taejin would not hurt it unless it attacked first. Taejin set Scout down gently. The young Ravager looked at him with its many eyes, then looked at the jungle. It could run. Taejin would not stop it. But Scout did not run. It sat down and waited with him. He is insane, Korseth whispered from the trees. Completely insane. Brave, Piruna corrected softly. Insanely brave. An hour passed. Then 2. The sun climbed higher. Sweat ran down Taejin's back. He did not move. Did not show impatience. Patience was part of being a predator too. Then the jungle sound stopped. Complete silence fell over the clearing. Taejin's heart beat faster, but he kept his breathing slow and steady. They were here. The Ravagers emerged from the trees. 12 adults, all massive and dangerous. They moved in formation surrounding the clearing, cutting off every escape route. Taejin recognized the hunting pattern. He had seen it before during the night attack, and at the center of the pack came the Alpha. It was enormous, nearly 5 meters tall. Scars covered its armor from countless battles. One eye was clouded and blind. Its claws were chipped and broken, but still deadly. This creature had survived everything the galaxy could throw at it. It was the ultimate survivor. The ultimate killer. The Alpha approached slowly. Its pack stayed back, watching. This was between leaders now. Between Alphas. The rest would not interfere unless their leader commanded it. Scout made a soft chirping sound. The young Ravager was calling to the pack. To its family. Taejin watched as the Alpha's attention shifted to Scout. Recognition flickered in those alien eyes. This was one of its pack members. One of its young Taejin had gambled that the Alpha would want Scout back. That family bonds existed even among these deadly creatures. It seemed he was right. The Alpha looked from Scout to Tae-Jin. Its meaning was clear even without words. "Give me back my young one." Tae-Jin shook his head slowly. Not yet. He had spent days practicing the Ravager's challenge call. Now he used it. He opened his mouth and roared. It was not a human sound. It was deeper, with harmonic tones that vibrated in his chest. Bora's acoustic device, hidden in his armor, amplified and modulated his voice to match the Ravager frequency perfectly. The Alpha stopped. Its entire body went still. No prey had ever made that sound. No prey had ever challenged a Ravager Alpha. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the Alpha roared back. The sound was so loud that Tae-Jin felt it in his bones. It was a sound full of rage and confusion and challenge. It meant, "You dare?" Tae-Jin roared again, louder. He spread his arms wide and stepped forward. In body language that crossed species lines, he was saying, "Yes, I dare." The Alpha circled him. Tae-Jin turned to keep facing it. He did not run, did not back away. He met the creature's gaze and did not flinch. Two predators, sizing each other up, both looking for weakness. The Alpha attacked. It was faster than Tae-Jin expected. One moment it was 5 meters away. The next, its claw was sweeping at his head. Tae-Jin threw himself to the side. The claw missed by centimeters. He rolled and came up running. He could not win a straight fight. The Alpha was too big, too strong, too armored. But winning was not the point. The point was to prove he could not be easily defeated. That he was worthy of respect. Tae-Jin used every trick he knew. He used the environment, ducking behind trees and rocks. He used improvised weapons, throwing dirt in the Alpha's eyes. He used his smaller size to dodge attacks that would have killed a slower creature. He fought dirty. He fought smart. He fought like a human. The Alpha slashed at him. Tae-Jin felt fire across his ribs. Blood ran down his side. He ignored it. Pain was temporary. Survival was what mattered. He grabbed a fallen branch and drove it into a joint in the Alpha's armor. The creature roared and threw him back. Tae-Jin hit a tree hard enough to crack ribs. He tasted blood. He got back up. Again and again they clashed. The Alpha was stronger, faster, better armed. But Tae-Jin refused to stay down. Every time he was knocked down, he got up. Every time he was wounded, he came back. He was showing the Alpha something it had never seen before. A creature that would not quit. 10 minutes felt like hours. Tae-Jin was bleeding from a dozen wounds. His armor was shredded. One arm hung useless at his side. But he was still standing, still meeting the Alpha's eyes with defiance. The Alpha knocked him down one final time. Tae-Jin tried to rise, but his legs would not support him. His vision was going dark at the edges. Blood loss, probably. He had seconds before he passed out. The Alpha stood over him, one massive claw raised high. It could end this now. One strike and the weak human would be dead. Tae-Jin looked up into those alien eyes. He did not beg, did not plead. If this was his end, he would face it like a predator. Like an Alpha, the claw came down. Tae-Jin closed his eyes. He felt wind. He heard impact, but no pain. He opened his eyes. The Alpha's claw had struck the ground beside his head. Deep gouges showed where it could have killed him. But it had deliberately missed. The Alpha stepped back. It roared, but the tone was different now. Not aggressive. Something else. Recognition, maybe. Or respect. Scout chirped and moved forward. The young Ravager approached the Alpha, who touched it gently with one massive claw. Then Scout returned to Tae-Jin and sat beside him. The message was clear. This young one chooses to stay with the human. This young one respects the human. The Alpha looked at Tae-Jin one more time. Then it turned and walked back into the jungle. The pack followed. Within moments, they were gone. Sunmi rushed out with the medical team. "You idiot. You beautiful, brave idiot," Tae-Jin smiled through bloody teeth. "Did it work?" "You are alive," Bora said. "I would say that counts as working." 2 weeks later, the Stellar Assembly convened. The Grand Chamber was packed with representatives from every coalition species. Everyone had heard rumors about what happened on Kresh 9. Everyone wanted to see if they were true. The massive doors opened. Commander Tae-Jin Kim entered. His wounds had healed, though new scars marked his face and arms. He walked with confidence across the chamber floor. Behind him walked Scout. The chamber exploded into chaos. Delegates jumped from their seats. Security alarms blared. 3 species representatives fainted immediately. A live Ravager. in the stellar assembly, walking calmly beside a human. Korseth, the Velkari military observer, stood up and demanded silence. When the chamber finally quieted, he spoke in a voice filled with awe. "I witnessed what happened on Kresh 9, he said. "I saw humans defend against creatures that have killed hundreds of our soldiers. I saw them track and capture an apex predator. And I saw their commander challenge a Ravager Alpha in single combat and survive." He paused. No, not just survive. Earn its respect. Firuna presented her scientific findings. She explained what the humans had discovered. That Ravagers were not mindless monsters. They were intelligent predators with complex social structures. That they could be understood, predicted, and even communicated with. That humans had evolved on a world that taught them these skills over millions of years. "Humans come from a death world too," Firuna said. "Not as deadly as Kresh 9, but deadly enough. They climbed to the top of their food chain despite being weaker than the creatures around them. They did it through intelligence, through cooperation, through refusing to give up." Taijin stepped forward. Scout sat calmly at his side. The Ravager looked around the chamber with curiosity but no aggression. It had learned that these places were safe if Taijin said they were safe. "We do not ask to join the coalition because we are the strongest," Taijin said. "We ask because we offer something different. We understand survival. We understand adaptation. We understand that intelligence can overcome raw power." He gestured to Scout. "This creature hunted your people for years, killed hundreds. But it is not evil. It is not a monster. It is an animal doing what animals do. We humans learn to understand such creatures. We learn to coexist with them, sometimes even work with them." Ambassador Zalteth, the Velkari who had mocked humanity, stood slowly. Its crystalline body was dim with humility. "What do you want from the coalition?" "Partnership," Taijin said. "Share your technology and knowledge with us. Let us share our understanding of survival and adaptation with you. The galaxy is dangerous. Maybe you need allies who specialize in the impossible." Bora presented Earth's proposal. Training programs and survival techniques, joint research into dangerous species, cultural exchange programs. Not as charity, as equals sharing different strengths, the vote was called. Representative after representative cast their vote. Green lights appeared above their seats. One by one by one. For the first time in coalition history, the vote was unanimous. Humanity was accepted. Full membership, full rights, full respect.